Xavier are ready to do battle. First round action in the South region at the Gaylord Entertainment Center. Let's send you to Nashville and join Jim Nantz and Billy Packer.
And we welcome you to the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville. Troy State, the Atlantic Sun Conference Tournament champions, taking on the Xavier Musketeers later tonight. Defending national champion Maryland starts its tournament, taking on University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz and Billy Packer. And there's a little buzz and energy in the air here tonight. And Troy State and Xavier both with a little following here. What do you expect we're going to see here?
I am surprised at this Troy State following. They're very vocal here. What I think we're going to see is another game of contrasts. Troy State wanting to keep this game in a full court basis. Ben Fletcher leads a cast of thousands, it'll seem like. After watching them practice yesterday, they want to get this ball up and down the court and use their three-point shooting to their best advantage.
Of course, will David West dictate the entire game? He's already been named Player of the Year by the United States Basketball Writers. Three-time Atlantic 10 Player of the Year.
And what we're seeing in David West is the nation's best low-post player. But yesterday, watching him in practice, it was amazing to me how he can step outside as well. A great shot blocker, tremendous rebounder, leads the nation in double-doubles for his career. We're looking at the best in the country.
There's head coach Don Maestri, his 21st season. He took his Trojans to 3 Final Fours back in the Division II days, but this is their first NCAA Division I tournament. Millhouse, Lewin, Petway in the front court, back court. There's Fletcher and Davis. They love to put on a show. Troy State, 26-5 on the season. The Musketeers, Thad Matta, 25-5. They had a nice 16-game win streak before losing in the semis of the Atlantic 10 tournament. David West, Anthony Miles, but there's more than just West on this team. Romain Sato, watch out for him. He had a huge tournament last year. They made it to the second round before losing to eventual Final Four team Oklahoma. Sato and West, the top players here at Xavier. Let's go over to the third member of our team. That's Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
Hi, Jim. Well, it was rough going early on this week for Romain Sato, not because he's got friends or family fighting over in Iraq, but because conflict broke out in his homeland of the Central African Republic, and he wasn't able to make any contact at all with his family. Sleepless nights for 3 days, but fortunately he was able to get in touch with his sister and his mother on Wednesday. Happy to report that everybody is safe and sound, and while he struggled early on and had some trouble concentrating early in the week, he's now ready to get going against Troy State, Jim.
They say he just wasn't the same. He was lost for 4 days until he heard from his family and his sister. Troy State out of Troy, Alabama, south of Montgomery, north of Dothan and Mobile. In the Atlantic Sun, that's the old Trans-America Conference. First tournament appearance, beating Central Florida in the conference tournament final. And of course the Musketeers, they have a proud history in this NCAA tournament. Knocked out Hawaii in the first round last year, again before Oklahoma ended their tournament run. Out of Cincinnati at large berth, but the A-10 has struggled thus far, Billy, in this tournament with 0-2 start here.
Yes, that's what has taken place. A conference that had a fine year. Dayton went out and St. Joe went out today in another one of those incredible down to the wire battles.
Xavier in the white uniforms, the number 3 seed in the Midwest.
Well, you're going to see tonight in Troy State one of the best conditioned basketball teams that you'd ever want to see. If they can get the ball off the boards, and there you can see West with a tremendous advantage in height and reach.
Almost anticipated that tap, but this Troy State team didn't get the floor last night here until, well, 7 o'clock, and they basically just ran up and down the floor in scrimmage for almost an hour.
They really did. 2-3 zone being employed to start off with. Sato, a great outside shooter, looking to find a spot. There he is.
Ball tipped.
Down to 9 seconds. That's a 2-3 zone, Jim, and really where the opening is right in the center of that 2-3 zone. Troy State giving up an awful lot of size to West and Miles. Great leap.
Sato side of the backboard, and Troy State pulls it away with Lewin.
And here they come.
Won't take them long to put up a shot. Well, knocked out of bounds by Finn.
You know, they remind me an awful lot of Loyola Marymount. Remember those great teams?
Well, they actually patterned their style of play, particularly about 10 years ago after those old Paul West head teams. Ball rejected. West just slapped it away. And Chalmers has it for the Musketeers.
All right, let's see if Chalmers at the top of the key or Finn can start some penetration down through the middle of that zone. A huge hole. That entire orange basketball doesn't have anybody in it. Right over the top.
West rejected by Petway. Yeah.
He walked on the play as well.
Petway says, hey, you can do that to us. Right back at you.
There's a walk on that play. Should have been a violation.
Push off on the...
It's going to be on Fletcher trying to get through West.
Attempted inbounds pass.
I think that what Xavier can do against this club, and I'm not taking anything away from Lewin because he's a fine athlete, but they can throw right over the top of this zone. West is just too big.
Sato, three-point shot. All air. He's missed his first two.
Davis pushes the ball down the floor. Anybody that touches it, all five guys run on the break.
Down and out for Davis. Chalmers lobs. Sato got caught underneath. Second shot rejected by Lewin.
Well, you're not going to outrun Troy State. Look at this.
Davis back down to the corner. Jumper off the mark. That was Fletcher.
Now, if you're Xavier, you don't want to get in this kind of a run up and down. It needs to be movement, but not just a frantic pace where you take away from your game. The big advantage for Xavier is to get the ball down and get inside to Miles and West.
Well, the big story here, a team that shoots a lot of threes, though, has one of its top players, Fletcher, with 2 fouls now. 2 quick ones.
Cheap ones.
On Ben Fletcher.
Well, they go 11 deep. They have 11 players that play more than 11 minutes.
Chalmers corner shot. And we've got
Lewin controlling the glass, isn't he?
No makes so far in 8 attempts from the field on both sides. Make it 9 tries. Chalmers quickly up, and that's off Xavier.
Oh, he thought that Davis got a piece of that coming from behind. Might have. But again, I think that Chalmers has to understand the pace that he wants his team to play. Can you believe this? Davis is walking the ball up the floor.
Can you believe we're 2 minutes into this game? Troy State loves to run and shoot. No score in the game overall. Millhouse, that's a 3. Battle underneath, and Chalmers comes out with it.
West wasn't ready for the pass. He was open inside. Sato had him.
That's Miles. Back to the rim. West. Reach in. Petway knocked it loose. Xavier ball.
West banged into Lewin that time for the second time tonight.
Yeah, they may
an
give us
aggressive move inside. No call made, and that's probably because Lewin is strong enough to withstand it.
They may give up some size inside, but they have quick hands. Very active with Lewin and Petway. Troy State.
And in great shape.
Miles outside jumper.
Have the numbers this time for the first time. 4 on 3.
Davis pulls back.
Good job by Miles getting back to help out.
Ball comes inside, and there you go on the board, Lewin.
Jim, I mentioned this before. Lewin, to me, is a strong Clyde Drexler. He looks like him a little bit.
Petway on the hold.
Incredible physique. And boy, he makes the turn here and flushed it.
Saw Clyde do that a few times down at Houston.
Well, what we're seeing right now is what we saw in the Utah-Oregon game. Xavier is playing Troy State's style, getting away from their own.
West.
Charge.
Yes. Charge called on West.
Smart play by Lewin. Thad Matta's got to call a timeout and get his guys organized as to how this game is to be played. No question about the charge. Petway sits, but we will see plenty of substitutions.
Hendrick Johnson in for Troy State, number 40.
Now Fletcher has to be real careful, Jim, with this much time on the clock, not to pick up that third cheap one. They need him on the floor. Leading scorer on his team.
Three-point shot, Millhouse.
Sato, tremendous leaper. And they stay in this 2-3.
Chalmers up and over Millhouse for three. And Xavier on the board, 3.5, 3:45 into the game. Davis gets inside. Lewin's underneath.
Stolen. Back. Stolen. Chalmers doing a great job inside. Smallest man on the floor right now. Sato wanting to go in behind that zone for a lob.
Miles too strong and tipped out by Troy State. We've had 2 out of 17 combined from the field, including this dunk. 3-2 Xavier.
Jim, one of the things, if you're Xavier, you want to keep this man right here, David West, closer to the basket. Watch what happens when the ball goes inside and there's no West to help out on weak side defense. West way outside. Lewin rolls. No West there to help out for the block. Out of position, Xavier, and so far in this ball game, even though they're leading, the ball game favors what Troy State is trying to accomplish. And that is to move this thing up and down the floor. 2-3 zone, they stay in it.
Then off the front of the rim.
Surprise, Millhouse has an opportunity to take his man. He doesn't want to drive.
Off the glass, Lewin, no good. Sato comes out with it. Xavier about a 4.5-hour ride. Bus ride away, 6-hour ride for Troy. The Troy fans coming up from Alabama. Inside West, it crawls in.
Nice job not going over the back that time by David West. Millhouse wide open.
He'll take that.
That was Miles. See, they have a matchup there. Millhouse with Miles on him, and Miles just left to go inside, so Millhouse wisely pulled up, took the jump.
Got the numbers here. Sato.
Tremendous elevation.
Wasting no time. Davis pushing it up court. Lewin very aggressive in there, but Chalmers so often picking up the loose balls. Lob time, Sato.
Well, that time he didn't get the ball under the rim for Sato. I think Sato likes the pace of this game. He can fly.
Hey, coach, why can't we do this more often?
See, I think every time Millhouse has either West or Miles on him, he ought to put the ball on the floor and try to go by.
Tough pass of West.
Making a mistake there.
Forced the steal right back to West. He started transition and ends it as well. Timeout. Timeout, Troy State. 6-0 run by the Musketeers to go up 11-5. After opening up here 1 for 11. Leading at 11-5 in Nashville. We've already on this floor today seen Kentucky and Utah advance to the second round.
Craig into the ball game, had a very good practice yesterday. Listed at 6'10", plays like a 7-footer, and they're going to need him in this ball game the way Miles and West controlling the glass.
That's Lavelle Craig of Troy State, number 35. Does have some size to him.
And the matchup to me for Troy State is for Millhouse to take advantage of the fact he's being guarded by West or Miles. He wants to give the ball up too quickly.
Evans tipped up. Well, Craig was jumping in there.
Jim, Troy State has been in this 2-3 zone the entire time.
Reach in, foul on Millhouse of Troy State.
Now, one of the things that's interesting watching Troy State practice, had not ever seen them play this year in person, but watching them practice, they love to get up and down the floor, but this could be a great penetration and kick out team because they do love to shoot the three. So far tonight, they haven't tried it.
Troy State, a program that has led the nation in scoring 3 different years, including its first year in Division I. And on the back of West is Craig. Lavelle Craig. Get complete tournament coverage, live updated brackets, and the latest developments on the road to the Final Four, all at CBSSportsLine.com or on America Online. Enter the keyword CBS Sportsline.
Craig's a 6'10" player. Down on the inside, see if he can stay with Miles. Miles just overpowers him. Xavier is starting to extend the lead. That could get a little scary, Jim. We know that Troy State has some big swings in their scoring, but they don't want to get down to the Xavier club.
Michigan State and Colorado, with Michigan State up 7 early. They have had some wild comebacks this year. There's a 3-point basket. Johnson just into the game. Kendrick Johnson.
And by scoring, it gives them a chance to get in their press. Good job.
Steal from behind, near steal, Davis.
Chalmers never saw Davis coming.
Wake with its struggle today against East Tennessee State. Did that surprise you?
It really did. I thought that Wake Forest would be in a position to win that game, and I'm not saying handily, but I thought that they would have a nice working margin. Good fake by Sato.
Chalmers, open 3. Yes, bangs it home. 16-8 Xavier.
Excellent rotation by Xavier on that offense. They're starting to get into sync now. It's a lot more like the game they want to play. Look at how far outside West is picking up his man. 30 feet from the basket.
Guarding Eddie Baker, number 1 for Troy State.
Wide hands.
There's Baker. Well, he challenges the National Player of the Year and scores right over.
But it shows the versatility of West to be able to go out and play a man that far away. Second time Chalmers had it stolen. That time it was Finn, stolen from behind.
Xavier with a 7-rebound advantage and a 6-point lead. And Jim Nantz, Billy Packer, and Bonnie Bernstein, Troy State and Xavier. Xavier leading it here 16-10.
Jim, when you take a look at Troy State, they had a win at Arkansas this year, but against Southern Miss and Auburn, Troy State against Auburn as an example, they took 33s and made 6 of them, losing to Auburn 94-66. So they have played some good outside competition. Georgia Tech as well. In that game, they were 7 for 30 from 3. Stay in this zone. They've been in the zone, the 2-3 the whole game.
Nice save, and Eddie.
Is what's allowed Michigan State to get that 10-point lead.
In Birmingham, Alabama, Austin Peay and the Louisville Cardinals, and the Cardinals lead it by a score of 28-19.
Because Louisville keeps their players fresh by substituting often and they pressure you whenever they score, they can put together little scoring runs by virtue of turning you over, and that's just what's happened. This was a close game a couple of moments ago, and the 3-point shot, the pressure defense combining to give Louisville a chance to add to this lead.
Louisville has scored the last 8 points in this game and have opened up a 28-19 lead, and they are coming up on 7:45 to play in the first half. Governors, however, have shown themselves to be very game so far.
They really are. They're a quick team. They need to try to penetrate off the dribble and kick it out for good perimeter shots or try to attack inside. Pretty good look there.
Around, in and out, and back come the Louisville Cardinals. We'll keep tabs on that game at the Fleet Center in Boston. Wagner and Pittsburgh. This has been a very physical game, very athletic game from start.
Well, with Pittsburgh, you know you're going to be in for a physical.
And I think, Jim, those games that I mentioned, like the Arkansas and the Auburns and the Georgia Techs, allowed this Troy State team not to be in awe at all of being in this NCAA tournament, even though it's their first go-round.
Jacob Pizzuri is in for Troy State. He's a sharpshooter and really turned things around after an early deficit at Arkansas this year. Baker stripped. It's still Troy State ball, 19 seconds on the shot clock. Troy State early in the year won at Bud Walton Arena at Arkansas.
Well, 8 of their first 11 games were on the road. This is a team that is used to playing on the road. They were 8-3 in those ball games. Nice shot.
Craig inside, tipped around, controlled by Miles.
Miles' strength, too much inside. Craig being pushed around pretty much.
Chalmers, Sato put back, tipped around out to Troy State.
That was Craig that got a piece of that one.
Herbert Evans driving in, lips out. And the pace picking up here in Nashville with Xavier in the white uniforms, leading 16-12, the 3 seed in the South.
Evans way outside now. Putting a hole in that zone. Sato has not been able to get open for many jump shots.
Otto got it to Miles somehow.
Here's one.
Now he bypasses the 3. They kick it around. Chalmers steps in. Floater, yes.
Second time that there's been excellent ball rotation by Xavier against this zone.
Chalmers leading the way for Xavier with 8. Cutting through, Johnson, too strong, put back.
Oh, yes, and is that going to be a foul?
They're going to say over the back. Lavelle Craig with the tip in.
Craig is playing like his name is West.
No basket. That's the second on Craig. David West on the bench with 2 fouls for Xavier.
Lewin back in the ball game now. An excellent job by Craig the minutes that he played.
Lewin active early in this game. Finn and Hazuri with the reach in.
Chalmers and Finn and Sato really know how to rotate that ball against the zone. The one thing that Xavier has not done, however, is gotten somebody in the foul line to go inside that 2-3.
It's the 7th team foul. Finn in the act of shooting. Take 2.
Second team All-Atlantic 10.
Coming up, singular at the half. Greg and Clark will keep you updated on all of the tournament news. Live look at action going on elsewhere in the tournament. All coming up, singular at the half.
Been a good-looking prospect.
Freshman out of Newburgh, Indiana.
Stepped on the line. Missouri didn't realize where he was. That's the second time right over here on this sideline so far in this tournament, Jim. We've seen somebody step on the sideline. There's where Sato needs to be, right on that foul line against that 2-3. He can have a field day.
Sato.
Push. Caudle on a push.
Sato 2 for 8. He's getting some looks, but not connecting.
Well, he set a school record 9 threes this year against Rhode Island, 34 points. Believe me, he keeps getting looks like that. He'll start filling it up.
Millhouse back in for Troy State.
Fletcher has not gotten much started for himself either. So you have Sato and Fletcher, 2 fellas that have the potential to score well, not getting much done here in this first half.
Troy State team that averages over 80 points a game held to 12 in the first 11.5 minutes. And again on.
That should not be happening. That's the 3rd time today, almost at exactly the same spot. A man has used the kind of the fake with a jab step backwards, stepped out of bounds. Good job by Petway, forcing Sato to give it up. There's where Sato belongs.
Pottle inside.
Jim, in against that 2-3 zone, if Sato will break into that foul line area, he'll either have jump shots or easy feeds inside to Caudle, West, or Miles.
There, Chalmers has quick hands. Corner, and Fletcher couldn't hold on to the steal. We have the under 8 timeout, and Xavier has its largest lead this game, 9-point advantage. Xavier clamping down. Troy State shooting only 28%.
Jim, it's amazing. Troy State on the year only shoots 33% from three, so it's not a great three-point shooting team, but I would point out they took 887 threes coming in this game. As an example, Xavier only 533, so almost 330 more shots to the three-point line.
Jackson into the game for Xavier. Off the glass, what a move. Keith Jackson comes right in, and they say he gives them a energy boost every time he's inserted. You can see why.
His big game this year, 21 points against St. Bonaventure.
Lewin outside, too strong, and pulled down by Jackson.
Now, Miles and West, the two power players for Xavier, out of the game right now. Caudle and Jackson taking up the slack. Then Chalmers and Sato still on the outside.
Jackson short this time and plucked out away by Fletcher. He's had a quiet first half.
Yep.
Davis rattles home a three.
That was from about 26 feet on the break or delayed break.
They had gone silent for almost 4 minutes before that make. Sato and West have had unproductive halves by their standards.
I still think there's the spot to be, right in the center. On the foul line. Sato, or in that particular case, Jackson, both could get off a lot of shots from that area and make that zone change completely.
Davis, can he do it 2 straight trips? Sato pulls it down. He is 4 points. West on the bench with 4.
I'll tell you, we have a track meet out here with the quickness of these 10 athletes on the floor.
Caudle, yes, but as much as they run and down, up and down the floor, it's really low scoring by Troy State standards.
And here's that zone defense. You know, they're back to man-to-man on the cut. I thought they had gone into a zone of their own for a second.
Push off on the back. It's Caudle.
It's been called that way on both ends of the floor.
Lionel Chalmers for Xavier.
Excellent dish on the inside. Stays down. There's the floater that he made earlier. He's having a good first half.
8 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Chalmers out of Albany, New York, a senior who had held out some hope that maybe his Musketeers will be bracketed in the East, where his hometown Albany will host the regional. Instead, should they get to the regional, they would be heading down to San Antonio.
Well, he had a mid-season foot injury that held him out for a while, but the young man really an important part of this team.
Missed the whole month of January to Chalmers. Tough pass, got it over there.
Davis was backing up. This is a slow down situation right here for Troy State. Blew it inside. Good job on the help.
Look at the quick hands, and the pass by Chalmers to Jackson. Bounce pass came right back into the hands exactly where it had to be.
Boy, Chalmers having some excellent feeds here in this first half.
Xavier has its largest lead. It's 12-12.
I think that Lewin can take Miles with that dribble. He's not looking to do it, a turn and face and put it on the floor. Very good defense in this sequence by Xavier. Without West in the game, he's got 2 fouls.
Lewin with a 3. All Xavier underneath. Sato can soar.
Sato and Jackson look like twins out there, don't they, in terms of the way they're going up and getting those rebounds?
Then with a 3. Look at Sato with the putback. Up and over, banks it home.
Sato and Jackson playing big on the glass.
Fletcher at the other end, quick shot.
See, here's Davis with Miles on him. Man-to-man situation, and he gives up the ball.
Underneath, Lewin. Good-looking player.
Excellent player, just a junior from Staten Island, New York. He was the All-Atlantic Sun Tournament this year, and you can see big things for him in the future.
Xavier calls a timeout. Watch Sato here. 6 points, 6 rebounds. Doing it all right here. right, Billy, let's take a look at the Pontiac high performance of the day. Daniels out of Auburn, 25 and 8, and then winning three-point play in overtime. Auburn defeating St. Joseph's. For more great performances as they happen, go to NCAAsports.com. Was Auburn highly criticized for getting in the field by many people, but certainly proving its worth here today.
Cliff Ellis in a very quiet Auburn team this year with all the high power that was in the SEC, particularly led by Kentucky and Florida early, even Alabama early on.
Showing that was a worthy selection indeed by the committee. On the wing, three-pointer tipped up once, twice, over the back. They're going to call Miles. Very active inside. Lavelle Craig of Troy State.
I talked to Coach Maestri about Craig yesterday. Now, Craig is a fifth-year senior. When you first look at him, and if you didn't know anything about him, he looks so young. He looks like probably a 19-year-old freshman. And a young man that I really think can have some basketball in his future. He just hasn't come around quite the way that would be expected, but he's got the long arms, and tonight he's showing he belongs on the floor with any of these guys.
So he's got a bandage on his right index finger right there. That happened when they were cutting down the nets to winning the Atlantic Sun Conference Tournament. He was up on the ladder with the scissors, had the scissors in his left hand, thought he was snipping the nets, took a chunk right out of his, finger.
He didn't even have to get on the ladder as long as those arms are.
.11 lead here. Xavier, 3:47 to go in the half. Take a look at the tournament summary with 3 overtime games, but also note that there have been 24 finals, and 11 of the 24 games have been decided by 5 points or less.
Well, how about that California NC State game? State hits the 3, figured, hey, we finally got the win. California comes right down against that St. Joe game. Jim, that block at the end, or what appeared to be a block, looked like the St. Joe was going to get one last chance, maybe even a tap-in on an inbounds play.
Setting up as a very attractive second-round weekend coming up.
Miles up and down. Say, a very good first half by Craig. He's come off that bench, really made his presence felt. You know, this is the first time Troy State's been in the NCAA Tournament Division I, but you know, they were on CBS back in '93 playing Cal State Bakersfield for the Division II National Championship. So they've been on TV before in an NCAA tournament, just wasn't Division I.
And Baker with the long 3. Yes, that Division II game, which CBS has proudly televised for a long time, Maestri and his team, that was their last game at the Division II level. Next year they moved on to Division I and immediately led Division I basketball in scoring.
After destroying Division II statistics in scoring.
Yeah, this is the 10th year overall. They've been Division I. Sato lost the handle, tried to call a timeout, but are they going to give it to him?
And he hurt his ankle a little bit on that too, running into the side. Oh, they are going to give him the timeout.
Wow, timeout. So Xavier with possession when we come back. This Xavier team, it's the highest seeded NCAA tournament team in Xavier history, number 3 seed in the South. They've gone largely without West tonight.
Well, he's got the 2 fouls, picked them up midway through the first half.
Jackson opens, Sato, that's his shot.
Just not hitting.
Miles gets it back to him, kick it out, Chalmers. Top scorer tonight in this one.
All right, Chalmers really doing a nice job, very solid. He's pushed the ball up the floor well, hit the open shot, and the rotation of the ball by Xavier against the zone continues to be outstanding.
With West on the bench, the lead has increased from 6 to 14. Fletcher. He's fading away with that.
Craig with another rebound.
3-pointer at the other end. Yes, Kendrick Johnson. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. The lead is 11.
Trying to pick up the full court basis, then getting back into their zone. Sometimes that can really get you off balance.
Chalmers weaves his way through, and out with the ball comes Evans. Chalmers. And saved by Jackson. Look at Finn go right between two defenders. No look pass, Sato. Finn with the assist.
Finn and Chalmers have been outstanding, Jim, in this first half. Chalmers really has picked up the slack with West sitting down. And likes, I think, playing in this open court area.
Evans misses the lay-in. Okay, that last possession was a little 4-point turnaround. They had Evans driving, unable to do anything underneath, and so quickly at the other end, the dunk by Sato. So the lead's 13. Look at the backcourt advantage of 24-3.
There goes Sato. See, he's breaking into that foul line area, but he's not patient enough. He breaks in and then he comes out. Rotation again.
Chalmers again with 14.
Good unselfish play by Sato. He's not having a good shooting first half, but giving up the ball.
Eight-second differential here for the Trojans.
Fletcher hasn't been able to get started at all. Sato on him, beats over the top of the screen.
10 on the shot clock, 18 and a half.
Better get in position to put something up here.
Evans driving. Foul called on Miles with 1 second on the shot clock.
Well, that's the third time tonight Evans has been able to work his way inside. As we mentioned, missed two that seemed like he had them easily. That time picked up the foul.
Xavier with its All-America and National Player of the Year. David West on the bench with 2 fouls. Able to dictate this game defensively. 27% they've held Troy State to from the field. And Lionel Chalmers and Diedrich Finn have really dictated things too from that Xavier backcourt. Chalmers with 14 to lead the way.
Evans only a 64% free throw shooter. High games this year of 15 twice. And Miles pulls off some strong rebounds.
Then on the drive, swatted away by Baker.
Finn really got himself kind of out of position. 3.2 seconds, plenty of time. And if I were Xavier, I'd figure some way to get Chalmers the ball. There he is.
Short this time. And Troy State finds themselves down 15. They came back from 19 down against Jacksonville on the road 10 times this year. Troy State has come back from a halftime deficit, but this is Xavier.
Yeah, not against a club like this.
22 points in the first half. That's a season low for the Trojans. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
Coach, we were talking before the game how Lionel Chalmers is finally getting back to clicking on all cylinders with the foot. How's he really been able to step up with West on the bench?
Well, I tell you, he's done a great job handling the pressure for us. He's knocked some threes down. Also did a tremendous job making extra passes tonight.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Thad Matta and his Musketeers. We'll see West in that second half. Leading at 37-22 at halftime. Greg Gumbel coming up after this.
We'll bring you up to date on all the highlights.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game.
Welcome, everyone. Singular at the half here in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Clark Kellogg, and we are going to run down all the scores and highlights for you as they are now, as all 4 games are at halftime. And we will begin with Troy State and Xavier at the break. The Musketeers are leading it by a score of 33-27. The Musketeers are a strong team.
They really are, and David West, their All-America, has been saddled by foul trouble, 2 fouls, but defense and the play of Chalmers and Romain Sato in the backcourt has been the difference.
And this is Troy State's first ever trip to the NCAA Tourney. The Trojans come in at 26-5, but they trail Xavier by a score of 33-27. Austin Peay and Louisville, 45-33. The Cardinals are in the lead, and the Cardinals looking for their 25th victory. And at halftime, the Cardinals and Rick Pitino with a 45-33 lead. Let's take a look at highlights. Austin Peay in Louisville. Austin Peay's Adrian Henning with a 3 to tie the game early on. And then Reese Gaines with a 3 and Louisville with a lead.
And Louisville doing what they do so well, getting the turnover by virtue of solid defense. Luke Whitehead going to get it ahead to Reese Gaines. 12-11 Cardinals. Then Adrian Henning attacking that Louisville defense with a nice, tough drive here. Louisville's lead was only 1.
The Cardinals returning to the tournament for the first time since 2000, looking good so far, and the winner takes on Mississippi State. Butler game, that's still to follow. From Tampa now, Colorado, Michigan State.
Stephon Pele with the steal and the punch. It's a 3-point lead for Colorado State, but then after that, Michigan State got going. Actually, Colorado trailing on the nice reverse layup there by Allen Anderson.
And then Michigan State's Chris Hill to Kelvin Torbert. Monster dunk down there. And Michigan State's lead at halftime over Colorado is 44-29. Here's the question for the Singular Wireless fan poll. What's been the best finish to a tournament game so far? Was it NC State, California, Wisconsin, Milwaukee against Notre Dame, Auburn against St. Joe's, or Utah, Oregon? Singular Wireless users send vote to 171 or log on to cbssportsline.com/singular. We'll have the results later in tonight's coverage. Some of you will send back to the game that you've been watching, and we thank you for joining us. For the rest of you, we'll continue with our halftime activities from New York after this.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game. CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game.
Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg. Game underway now in the Fleet Center in Boston. Pittsburgh, 45-29, now 45-30 over the Seahawks of Wagner. Pitt, the number 2 seed in the Midwest. They're underway in the second half. Let's take you there and join Vern Lundquist and Bill Raftery.
Pittsburgh's lead is 15 now. They were up 11 at the half.
You know, Pitt, I'm sorry, Vern.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Pitt could be a little off their game and still win. Wagner has to be above their game to win.
To have a chance. Yeah. That's right. Here's Zavatskis, who just hit a 3-pointer a moment ago. Krauser's on for Brandon Knight, who sits with 3 fouls. Krauser, little muscle in the lane. Rebound, Nigel Wyatt. 45-30. The attempted dish, ball on the floor. Diedrich Dye, Krauser. Here's Julius Page.
Bada bing! Oh, he can soar with the Eagles. Amazing what he can do on the floor. I mean, any spot, he's dangerous. Deep, middle.
You know, you think of the high flyers in college basketball, and they list him with a 39-inch vertical leap. I think it's more than that.
You know what it might be, Vern? It might be the quickness of the leap,
right,
and the length of it. I mean, he's a high soarer. He's not Connie Hawkins. He's not Julius Erving. But Bing, once he hits the floor with the heels of his, just propels to the rim.
At the other end, we've got Jeraine Hall is going to the free throw line. 47-30 with 17:21 to go. Brandon Knight coming back on the floor and replacing Jerron Brown.
And Jerron having a very quiet game.
Yes, he is.
And a very talented player. And I don't know if he's on top of his game health-wise or just playing within the scheme.
Hall gets the second. And full court press applied after the made free throw. Here's Brandon Knight playing with 3 fouls here in the second half. Into the hands of Krauser as Knight moves to the off-guard position now.
You know, the one thing that Pitt does well when Knight is at the top, he'll pass. He always is confident he's going to get the ball back. Now he's playing off the ball as Krauser again gets to the rim. How about that?
Little Hardy Nickerson. Or a little Scott Hamilton. I've seen both do that.
Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
As good as this? Now, Scott can't do this. The pirouette in the lane. I know he can pirouette, but
yeah, but he can pirouette 3.5 times and come down on a 1/4-inch plate of steel. It's equally as impressive.
I would agree. I would agree. Each to their own standard.
Krauser. Oh, that was fun.
You never know with kids, do you? They emote.
18 points. 16:55 to go in the game. Back outside, tipped by Brandon Knight. Tips it back to himself. Oh, what a beautiful play.
Just a great effort. That's the speed control he has. He can turn it up a notch when he has to.
So the Panthers move out now to a 52-32 lead as they come up on 16 and a half to play in that game. Meanwhile, in Tampa, Michigan State with a 48-33 lead on the Buffaloes of Colorado. First round action in the South. Let's send you there. Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel.
18-19 to go in regulation. Michigan State with a 17-point lead over Colorado. This one was very tight in the early going. Michigan State pulling away about the midway point of the first half. And a foul called as Torbert was trying to deal with Mirandis, and that'll be number 2 on Kelvin Torbert of Michigan State.
And continuing your point there too, Ian, one of the things that Tom Izzo has continued to do with his squad is keep the enthusiasm level up at the defensive end, and has been very aggressive on the perimeter. Very infrequently have we seen Colorado put the ball on the floor and go by and have a clear path and dribble towards the basket.
They've had a tough time establishing big David Harrison, 7 feet, a lot of double teams inside on the Colorado center.
There's one down low. He's got to go straight up with that.
Harrison gets it to fall, but a foul called before the shot attempt.
That was a good example of how difficult it's been for Harrison to get a good, easy bucket down below. First, Gagne gives him a little pop, then the next guy steps in and gives him a pop, and the third guy comes in and then fouls him. So the catches have been difficult. They've been far and few between, but have to start looking for them more frequently.
First foul on Allen Anderson for the Spartans. Just over 2 minutes gone by here in the second half. 7-seed Michigan State in the South, taking on the 10-seed Colorado. Jump shot, Glenn Eddy, no. And rebounded by Lorbeck.
10 guys played in the first half for Tom Izzo. 8 of them put up rebounds and 9 of them scored. So very balanced attack once again.
Torbert able to come up with the basketball. I know one thing you love as a throwback basketball guy is when the ball does not hit the floor and they can advance it in a hurry. With crisp passes and another jump shot. How about the stroke of Chris Hill? 11 points. And the 3 ball goes down.
The most impressive part of this offensive explosion for Michigan State has been their patience and balance at the half-court sets.
McGee on the drive and scoops it through.
Now there's one of those slices, using the dribble, but coming down the floor again with Michigan State, looking for their opportunities.
So the Michigan State Spartans looking very impressive indeed this evening down in Tampa, Florida. They lead at 53-35. Here's what's still to come this evening here on CBS. Number 7 Indiana will be in action against 10th seed Alabama in the Midwest. Number 2 Florida playing in the South bracket. In the East, Butler against number 5 Mississippi State. And in the South, defending champion Maryland against UNC Wilmington. We thank you for joining us here on Singular at the Half. We'll send you back to your respective games in Birmingham and Nashville right after this.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half. Singular's wireless polling allows you to get into the game. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, Pepto-Bismol, Warner Brothers Dreamcatcher, and by Microsoft.
Here in the Music City, everybody a little out of tune early, except for Lionel Chalmers. He's been on go all the way. He's been the X factor as Troy State is down 15 here at the half. Sato's made some acrobatic plays. West spent most of the half on the bench with 2 fouls. But Xavier leads at 37-22, and the halftime numbers we can report this way. Troy only 27% from the field, being out-rebounded by 11. And the assist, well, that's again Chalmers with passes like this. And the leading scorer in the game is, in fact, the senior Lionel Chalmers. Let's go over to Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Jim, the bad news for Troy State is they shot 26% in the first half, much of which Don Maestri credits to, first-time jitters for being in the tournament, shots rimming out because of it, and them putting more pressure on themselves. The good news is that they actually played Belmont in this building earlier this year. We're down by 14 at the half and won by 3, so there's their glimmer of hope.
Yeah, they have a knack for that, Bonnie, coming back after really having poor first halves, but their shooting percentage here, their worst single half of the season. Xavier gets the ball to begin the second half with that 15-point lead.
Well, there's Fletcher on Chalmers. And Fletcher did not score in the first half. 0 for 5, a leading scorer for Troy State. Shut out completely. David West back in there now with Miles.
And Finn had a nice little half as well.
Tough shot.
But look at Finn get it back. Tries to squeeze the pass to West. Taken away by Baker.
That ball should have been kicked all the way out. There was nothing going on inside.
Fletcher way short with that one.
Really tight is Fletcher. That's 0 for 6 so far tonight.
The guy that averages 14 a game. Miles, he has the position. Took a long time to make that move. West with the putback. West with only 4 points in the first half. Spent majority of the time on the bench with the 2 fouls.
Lewin, for some reason, and I thought we'd see more of this, Jim. Lewin needs to put the ball on the floor with Miles and go by him. Try to take it inside.
Had that opportunity the last time
he
touched
is. He's
it.
looking to pass, making it easy for Miles to guard him. Sato again going way up on the boards.
Sato with 8 rebounds. Chalmers can make it a 20-point game.
Why leave him open? He was just 5 for 9 in the first half, 4 of 6 threes. And there he is unguarded. His first attempt here in the second half. Straight man-to-man by Xavier. Troy State has used the 2-3 zone the entire game.
You get West out high.
Lewin again, for some reason, does not want to put it on the floor and go by. Nice crossover dribble. No place to go. And that could have been the third on West, but he got his hands on the ball.
Arrow belongs to Troy State.
When I say he got his hands on the ball, Jim, I haven't seen him do this, but I understand he can spread his hands out and put a 12-inch ruler from little finger to thumb edge.
Wow.
Now that's some wingspan in your hands.
Finger span.
Finger span, yeah.
A nice little move by Davis.
Over Finn. And picking up full court. That's what Troy State needs some, is to get some field goals. With that poor field, 26% in the first half, they never could get their press initiated.
They've had several long droughts in this game. That one goes back to the first half before that basket. Over 4 minutes between field goals. Chalmers called for it, clapped the hand, and pulled down by Johnson. Pull up 3, Davis, 2 in a row. 1 to 2, and this one's a 3.
Davis again shooting from way beyond the three-point line. Reversed that shot in the first half. Nice steal.
Baker had it. Chalmers right back. West with the assist. Sato with the put away.
Not unusual for West this year. 98 assists. So 99 approaching 100 assists. Pretty strong for a big postman, isn't it?
Not bad. Doing it all. Davis, can he go 3 straight? Nope. Sato climbs the ladder.
Now you see the pace of this game. Remember how this game started, running frantically up and down the court for both teams. Now this pace is completely where Xavier wants it.
It was a helter-skelter first half.
They averaged 78 a game, but they'd like to play this team in the 70s and really controlling it now.
Tuesday on CBS, join superstar Celine Dion. She teams up with the creative genius behind Cirque du Soleil for a spectacular all-new live special. Justin Timberlake hosts Celine in Las Vegas, opening night live Tuesday on CBS, America's most watched network.
Miles, 3rd team All-Atlantic 10. He was 7th in the Atlantic 10 in rebounding. Shows you, what kind of depth they have in rebounding when this young man right here is shown A real ability to go up on the glass tonight. Only 7th in the league. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's playing with David West, who is the leading rebounder.
A lane violation on Troy State. One more try. Xavier just absolutely dictating the glass here. Plus 15 on the boards. Lavelle Craig has come back into the game here for
very solid first half. I don't think the statisticians served him very well. It looked like he had no blocked shots on the stat sheet and only 2 rebounds. I thought he did a little better than that. Spreading it out. Chalmers really doing a good job sitting down on the outside. Good movement defensively.
Evans on the wing. 3-pointer.
Well, Chalmers did his job. Finn didn't think that Evans had put one up from that far out. Evans missed 2 late layups, easy layups in the first half. Now finds it much better to be at long range. But they are missing Sato when he breaks from the foul line. They didn't miss him that time.
Johnson with the reach-in steal. Davis on the wing.
He likes that distance.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nice comeback, Jim.
It was 20, and it's down to 13.
It's interesting how Xavier is not getting West in the action at all on the half court.
Look at Davis.
He's got it and loses it.
On a bump foul on Evans.
Boy, great job by Chalmers there. He had a 2-on-1 situation. Evans and Davis with quick hands just couldn't get the ball from him.
Timeout on the floor. Troy State with a little flurry. Tournament champions Troy State, the conference. Well, 2 years ago, won a game in the NCAAs. Georgia State.
Lefty Drizel
defeated Wisconsin before losing to Maryland.
That was quite a unique setup, knowing that Lefty Drizel would go back and face his former team.
And that was all out in Boise. That was the bracket that really was the impetus to change the first weekend to the pod system as West slams it down. He has 8. We had George Mason, Maryland, Georgetown all playing out there in Boise, Idaho so far.
Baker, the first guy tonight to take a one-on-one dribble and then takes a bad shot, trying to beat West off the dribble instead of just taking a jump shot. Looking to go to West now.
They come right out of the timeout with 2 West baskets.
Good job by Xavier to get West into the ball game. As we said, foul trouble in the first half.
And while you were away, right out of the timeout, a dunk by David West, and then a little shot, a little 4 or 5 footer in the lane by West to increase the lead to 17. Now he pulls down the rebound.
And West wanting his club, wait on me a little bit. Let me get in the low post. I can put some points on the board. He's got Craig on him down there. Little high-low action.
Wide open. Jackson, Miles underneath. Little flip.
Good
right
hands.
under the basket.
Jim, this is going to be a tough team to knock out. They've got outside shooting, solid guard play, good rebounding, just deep enough a bench.
And they have a senior who can put a team on his back.
Absolutely.
Which is often the difference maker in the tournament.
There you got a senior guard, leadership, senior inside player.
Going to call that on David West. That's his 3rd.
Another touch foul. And he wants to stay in the ball game. Let's see if Coach Mata lets him stay and get some playing time here to get ready for the next ball game. Nope, he's going to take him out of there.
He's going to bring Cottle in. The next whistle. Lewin has returned to the floor for the Trojans.
See, they just go right at West again. Millhouse is being guarded by West. Let him come up the top of the key, put the ball on the floor, and go by him. Try to pick up his 4th. Gives up the ball too easy.
Tip up once. Lewin underneath. Blocked by David West. Back to Lewin. Good this time.
He couldn't go for the block that time because Lewin had good position on him, so West pulls his hand away. If you're Chalmers, get the ball to West now. You know he's coming out of the ball game. Keep the big man active.
Stolen away. Lewin forced it. Davis racing.
Great drive. There's some quickness on this team.
Davis with 13, 10 in the second half. Troy State faithful screaming for defense. Miles too strong, and Lewin pulls it down.
That's a nice job by Petway, not fouling, coming over the back.
Davis,
no place to go.
Troy State ball.
Yep. West got a piece of that ball.
Near the conclusion of every tournament game, we select the Chevrolet most valuable player from each team. To date, Chevrolet contributing more than $8 million to the general scholarship funds, America's colleges and universities. Now David West goes out.
Yeah, he's upset. He did not want to go out of the ball game. Sits down, and those were touch fouls, but he's got 3. I don't think his team's in any danger of him maybe playing more and getting a 4th.
Millhouse brings it down to 12. He rocks the house with that 3.
This is a
240.
A quiet but very solid comeback.
Xavier had a 20-point lead early in this half. It's been reduced to 12. 3-point shooting is brought back to Trojans of Troy State. Sato, soft touch.
Sato looks like he's limping a little bit. Jim, remember when he hurt his knee there?
Hey, he landed. There are some bodies on the floor.
Well, remember when he called that timeout and banged into the score table there in the first half?
Petway way too strong with that 3, but like a pass to Lewin. Sato has a double-double. 12 points, 10 rebounds.
And a sore knee.
Back in Nashville, and Xavier's David West shocked everyone last spring when, after he decided to enter the draft, he decided to change his mind, stick around for his senior year. And in the past season, not only has his endurance, his conditioning, his decision-making improved, but he got his own bobblehead doll. This thing was a giveaway, 3,000 given away on New Year's Eve to try to draw the crowds in. 3,000 of them given away. They waited online for 5 hours, and it's better than he does, Jim.
David has a little habit of collecting stuffed animals from carnivals where he goes and does the little basketball shoot. He's got some 60 in his collection. So bobblehead dolls and stuffed animals.
Another thing he collected was a degree.
Yeah, he's already graduated. Communications
that?
Degree in December. I'd like to collect a little Final Four rings, what he's looking for now.
You know, talking about degrees, Xavier has graduated. Every player has played as a senior and used up their eligibility, Jim, since 1986.
Wow.
Sister Rose Ann Fleming, and I'd like to meet that lady right there because she is really credited for the tremendous academic counseling at Xavier.
Chalmers. And look at Lewin. Sky for that one.
Wow, Sato, I don't know if that was a foul. Now, there's sometimes when there is contact in basketball, but no advantage is gained. So I don't think that the foul should have been on Sato here. Just a good no-call situation. Now watch this. No advantage is going to be gained, if at all.
Well, it did kind of go back in there.
No, but there's no advantage gained. It wasn't the fact that Xavier could have taken the ball away or that Troy State got moving on the fast break.
Oh, Lewin. And that,
he cannot believe that didn't go down. Wow. Watch this ball shatter across this rim. He cannot imagine, just kind of misjudged it a little bit. Was certainly up high enough. Fletcher, who is still quiet offensively. I don't think he has a field goal yet, does he?
0 for 6. West, other side, tip up.
Well, that was Lewin that knocked him away.
To bring it to 11. Petway.
There's
Lewin again. So active underneath. Davis open. Yes, he'll fire that one. He's good again.
Good, smart play by Lewin. He could have put that back up in traffic. Saw Davis, who's been a hot teammate in the second half, got it back outside.
13 in the second half for Davis. Lead down to 11.
Amazing comeback. West is into the ball game with the 3 fouls. He politicked a little bit to get back on that playing floor.
Jackson, yes, just the right spin off the glass.
But now they've got that twosome in there of Sato and Jackson that were so explosive at the end of the first half to build up that lead.
Davis with the ball has scored 13 of Troy State's 21 and a half.
Pick and roll action, and West better stay out there on Davis, because if they see the way it's being played, Davis can get that jump shot off.
Nine minutes left in the game.
Why? Not a good play.
Fletcher's out of his game tonight. Bump foul on Petway.
He telegraphed that lob.
Greg Davis, he talked to the Troy State people. They'll tell you, low-profile guy with a big-profile game. And we've seen it. Big-profile second half tonight.
Well, he was number 2 in the league in assists, but tonight he has been the guy putting up the outside shots.
Chalmers in a bump, too. Bump called on Lewin.
Lewin got beat on the baseline, Jim. He'd have been smart to just let Chalmers go in there, because with his ability to go up in the air, there's no way Chalmers would have scored on him. Cheap foul. Those touch fouls really hurt big men.
Just the 4th team foul of the half. Sato just not with his outside shot tonight.
That was Jackson going up with Lewin. He and Sato can really sky.
Tough pass from West. Read it all the way.
Nice anticipation by West there. And Xavier really hasn't done anything to get West the ball tonight. There's the play.
And the give up to Jackson. Taya Jackson is a thrilling player to watch.
That play has been there all night long. The ball inside the 2-3 zone. Sato breaking up to the foul line and just making things happen.
Coach Maestri calls timeout for Troy State. Xavier by 15.
Jim, throughout this game, this area right here is where Sato had the opportunity to fill. Watch what happens when he does. Good things will happen. That's been there all night long. The first time that Xavier's really taken advantage of
it. Chalmers with 17 to lead the way for the Musketeers. Sato with 12 points, 10 rebounds. Miles has 10 rebounds for Xavier. And West, a rather quiet night, 10 points, 6 rebounds.
West does a nice job fighting over the top, but Lewin does a good job getting it back. Look out, Jackson. Oh, he walks. Slipped on the floor.
Under 8 timeout, 58-43 Xavier. Everything certainly tilted to the Xavier side when you look at the recap here. Points in the paint, though. 28-point advantage. Xavier.
Without West having a dominating game.
But how about Fletcher? He had 29 in the tournament final against Central Florida. Scoreless tonight.
That was a career high for him in that ball game. He was 10 for 19. And tonight has not been able to get a field goal.
Here he is.
Out.
Maybe now?
Oh, yes. There it is.
3-pointer, too.
That one looked pretty positive, Jim. The last jump shot he took was a air ball by some distance. He missed by about 3 feet on the last one.
Yeah, Xavier certainly has been in control of this game, but you look up, it's 12 with 7 minutes to play.
Again, Sato breaks to that middle. good things will happen. Boy, that's a lethal combination. Jackson and Sato breaking.
Chalmers, 3 on the shot clock. West. Rebound pulled down by Johnson. Trojans aren't out of it yet. Good pass. Good night.
Lewin made sure that one didn't rattle across the rim. Jim, we're talking about a 10-point ball game. Can you believe this?
And it was 20 at one time and a half.
Troy State, as we mentioned, brought a nice crowd with them to this ball game.
Sato cutting through, and he is fouled.
That's Millhouse, who pushed him at the last second.
Well, Bonnie talked about it. You know, certainly Xavier's not Belmont, but on this floor back on January 24th, Troy State was down 14 at the half. They were down 15 tonight at the half. Came back to win that game. Had a 19-point halftime deficit erased at Jacksonville. They were down early at Arkansas. Won there at Walt Arena. In fact, this team from Troy State did something that Mississippi State and Indiana and Alabama. Those two teams are playing in the next sequence of games tonight. Alabama, Mississippi State. Troy State did something they couldn't do. They won at Arkansas.
At Arkansas, huh? Yeah, that's quite a victory to go down to Bud Walton Arena and pull something off there.
Nice little tip. Keep the possession for the Musketeers. Jackson made the play.
Sato missed that free throws, had a 17 straight streak earlier this year of makes, not misses.
West and Baker with the board. Now they can get it under 10.
Lewin and West did a good job that time running down the court. Lewin was trying to get another fast break layup. Ooh, good screen by Lewin.
Well, it hit Finn right in the face. Fletcher gets it back. Left hand, and it's a 9-point game.
And Lewin did a good job blocking West out that time, so West could not get there for the shot block.
First time under 10 since 23 to 15.
West has got 49 blocks on the year, had one tonight, so that makes 50.
And there's a reach-in called on Johnson. Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game, and we pointed this one out a little earlier. Let's amplify points in the paint. You get complete tournament stats. CBSSportsline.com. America Online, under the keyword CBS Sportsline. 6 team fouls, so the next one will be the one-on-one. Finn, and all Troy State underneath.
Well, Johnson's starting to do a good job on the boards, coming in for that weak side.
Look what's happening here, Billy Packer. 5 minutes left, and Troy State's back in it.
What did I say? Belmont is no Xavier.
Put back too strong, tipped around, and Xavier has it.
Missed by Johnson.
Boy, they had 2 good looks at it. Finn finds an open Sato, rejected by Johnson.
And they get a pickup. Fletcher hustles to the corner.
Well, I heard a hand slap on that, no call. That would have been a huge 3 by Davis.
Finn did a good job blocking out Baker, wrote him out.
That would have cut it to 6. Xavier fans still.
I'll tell you, Davis, they still got a lot of fire in their eyes as Troy State.
They're still upset about that last no call.
They believe that they can make this comeback. I don't see any quit in them at all. Chalmers has been quiet in this second half compared to where he was.
Sato at last from the outside. First basket by Xavier in 4 minutes. And that's the first 3 of the night after 0 for 5 for Sato.
Well, that was huge. Could have got it down to 6, and now it's back up to 12.
Good screen, and Davis takes advantage.
Jimmy, you got to be impressed with Greg Davis.
Very much so.
He was all Lennox Sun tournament team this year, but really played beautiful basketball in that tournament. And having an outstanding night here tonight.
Had a career-high 20 against Samford in that tournament. Back out Sato, 2 in a row perhaps. Lewin up there high.
Boy, and I'll tell you, West nowhere to be seen on that rebound, and it was right in his area. Lewin, Baker, Johnson holding their own on the boards.
Davis wants the shot. Sato again, very aggressive, but Troy State ball. We have a timeout on the court. Coach Maestry's team putting up a nice little challenge here in the second half. And I'd like to welcome those of you who just joined us. Xavier led by as many as 20 in this half. Down to 10. 3 minutes left here in Nashville. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Bonnie Bernstein, South Region bracket action. And Xavier, without the big firepower from its All-America David West tonight, he was saddled with 2 fouls in the first half, set for the majority of that half. On the night, 10.6 rebounds.
Well, we saw another All-American, Luke Ridenour, have a down game in the first earlier this afternoon, and this Baker coming back. They wanted a timeout. They don't get it. Ball comes inbounds too quickly.
This is the closest they've been in this half. It's down to 8. It was one time 42-22, 20-point Musketeer lead.
And they've been able to stay in this zone defense this entire ball game.
Miles, 3 players converging, and Baker says, I touched it.
Good job by Baker to raise his hand quickly to make sure Lewin doesn't get it.
Be a 1-and-1.
Now what Davis is talking to the official there is, after we scored, we want the timeout, and he wasn't able to get it quick enough. Good idea to remind the referee what they're trying to do.
Michigan State really in control of things with Colorado throughout. Louisville up 19.
Isn't that amazing, Jim? Just a week ago, we saw Michigan State probably play one of the worst halves that the Tom Izzo team has played in a long time. They come out on fire tonight.
And Pittsburgh never in doubt with Wagner. Miles was, let me correct that, in the act of shooting, so gets one more. Keith Jackson back in. Certainly provided some electrifying moments for Xavier tonight off the bench.
You're getting a little offensive, defensive substitutions right now for Xavier.
Lewin inside. Lewin is fouled. He'll go to the line. This pesky team from Troy, Alabama, the Atlantic Sun Conference champions, giving Xavier a nice run here late in the game.
Excellent pick and roll. And Jim, we can't go without talking about the great history of this school in regard to something they did as a Division school, Division II school. They made 51 three-pointers in a game, scored 258 points against DeVry Institute, had 8 players that night score over 20 points, and the only person that has a copy of the film of that game is Coach Maestry, and he says, I'm not showing it to anybody because I don't want my future teams to realize how little defense was played. But you can't imagine with 51 threes that there were many defensive maneuvers in that ball game.
And they made 3 free throws.
Yeah,
the only team, only team in college history to score 200 in a game, and they blew it out by 58. 258. That was DeVry Institute out of Atlanta. The year before they played, they had 187 on them, but that's 2 huge misses right there. Lewin at the line could have cut it to 7.
Chalmers spin, Sato on the outside here. Just trying to utilize a little bit of clock.
Sato, 3-pointer, tipped up by Miles.
Oh, good second effort.
Underneath is West. And they'll put the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, some say the National Player of the Year, on the line. Maryland and UNC Wilmington. The 4th game of the day here in Nashville. That'll be next. UNC Wilmington last year springing the surprise in the first round on Southern Cal. 2 shots for David West.
Another quiet evening, but you expect before this NCAA tournament is over, this young man's going to step up with a big game.
If I'm Maryland or I'm UNC Wilmington, I'm not too happy that this guy's had a quiet night in the opening round.
Well, his biggest night of the year, 47 points, 18 rebounds against Dayton. That's a night.
Timeout called by Xavier. Little room right there. 2 misses on the other end, 2 makes by West. It's 11. back here in Nashville. And Xavier, team that after you watched them yesterday in practice, you said this is a very dangerous bunch. Now after you've seen them play here tonight, not in their top form from some of their top players, what do you think?
Well, I think Troy State was a tough team for them or anybody to match up with. Fletcher taking another kind of a wild shot, not necessary with this amount of time to go. Oh no, Jim, I like this team an awful lot. Atlantic 10 put 3 quality teams into the NCAA tournament. 2 are out already, but I really think Xavier could play with anybody in the country.
Finn over to Chalmers. Jackson back out. Look at this ball movement here. 10 on the shot clock. Chalmers led the way in that first half.
Gets down on the floor. I think that ball hit Troy State Baker on the way out, and Chalmers all over it.
Xavier ball. Greg Davis comes back in for Troy State.
Jim, it looks like Michigan State's going to win, so the Big Ten 4-0, the Big 12 5-0, and the Big East 4-0 so far in this tournament. 3 conferences on a nice roll.
Well, the Big 12 about to get nicked with Colorado with that Michigan State game.
Yeah, they would be going out. So that'd be their first drop of the tournament.
But then 5-1.
Make 5-1. So you've got the ACC 2-1, the SEC 2-1, the Big East 4-0, Big 12 5-1, Pac-10 4-1, Conference USA 2-2, and the Big 10 4-0.
Miles out, Jackson in.
Solid performance by Miles tonight.
Miles 7 points, 11 rebounds.
You know, teams have a day off in this tournament from the Friday night to Sunday. And Sunday games will be later for even more of a rest. But I'll tell you, Xavier had to extend an awful lot of energy tonight. This was a game that moved up and down the floor.
Xavier in the white uniforms about to advance to the second round. They got pushed here. The Musketeers got pushed late by Troy State. Davis, front of the rim. He's had a strong second half and will be our Chevy MVP for the Trojans.
Excellent crossover dribble against Finn.
And a reach-in foul called on Millhouse.
Well, you take a look at the score in this ball game. Down 11, Fletcher, their leading scorer, had a very poor game. Things could have been a little bit different if he'd have been on his shot.
Just to reset for some of it just joined us, with 4 minutes to go, Troy State was down 9, had possession, had a wide open 3. Could have been a pretty wild finish in store for us had that gone in, making a 6-point game, trimming a 20-point second half deficit.
Finn matched up very nicely in the backcourt with Chalmers, particularly in the first half when they really got some great ball rotation against the zone. He's had a lot of minutes here tonight.
Finn with the foul. But that's only the, what, the third team foul of the half?
And that was the reasoning for the foul, Jim, and the fact that go for the steal, because even if you get called for the foul, nothing's going to happen. You don't want to foul here. Just trying to utilize some clock.
Davis open. Oh, what a block. Keith Jackson.
That's not the same Keith Jackson we all know, was it?
But it is worth an O'Nelly right there, Billy.
Yes, sir, O'Nelly. And then some. Boy, oh boy, Jackson and Sato, they are twins in terms of being able to get up on that glass.
Chevy MVPs of the game, Greg Davis from Troy State. He's tied his career high of 20. Romain Sato, we'll give it to Sato with the 18 points. Also a good night on the glass, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Troy State's going to be held to its season low. They had 61 as their low coming in. Well, hold on a minute, maybe not.
That was Millhouse from 30 feet. Referee's not calling it.
Fletcher says, wait a minute, I fouled him. Aren't you going to call it?
Chalmers will wait. Well,
Xavier on to the second round Sunday, playing the winner of the Maryland UNC Wilmington game, which will be next on the floor here at the Gaylord Center in Nashville.
Well, Jim, this young man right here settled his team down in the first half when the game was actually played at a pace that didn't make any sense at all for Xavier, even though they liked the challenge to say we're as quick as you are. Xavier very comfortable with a game that this man set the pace for.
Could have just as easily been the Chevy MVP. Has 20 on the game, 7 assists. Long range look, tipped around, and the game is final. Give Troy State a nod for a feisty second half effort. But Thad Matta and the Musketeers are moving on to the second round. 71-59, the final here. We'll send it back to Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg on CBS in a moment.